Hi, my name is Kay Sutha. I am a business strategist and I will be your host. In this podcast, I'll be getting raw, real, and relentless whilst interviewing successful entrepreneurs from all over the world who specialize in different aspects of business. We'll cover the 5 main pillars of business, which are sales, marketing, finance, operations, and leadership, but not forgetting mindset, live and digital events, plus much, much more. You'll gain insights, tips and tricks, and discover jaw-dropping actionable steps that you'll be able to put in place for your business right away. Hey guys, oh my goodness, I am so excited for this episode. It's going to be the first episode in the red carpet special guest segment. And boy, do I have an awesome speaker for us today. Jill Lublin is an international speaker on topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She is an author of 4 best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referred, and co-authored of Guerrilla Publicity and Networking Magic. Her latest book, Profit of Kindness, went #1 in 4 categories, guys. Yes, that's right, 4 categories. Jill is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She's the CEO of a strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years experience working with over 100,000 people, plus national and international media. She teaches a virtual publicity crash course and consults and speaks all over the world. She has spoken on many stages with experts. Get this, guys, with experts such as Tony Robbins. Yes, you heard that right, Tony Robbins. She also helps authors to create book deals with major publishers and agents, as well as obtaining foreign rights deals. Please welcome, guys, Jill Lublin, 4 times best-selling author, international speaker, and master publicity strategist. Oh my God, Jill, I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Kay. I'm delighted to be here also.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, there is a lot of things to get through, and I want to get through them as quick as possible. You've got so much insight, so much knowledge and experience, and I know that people need to hear this. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, tell us a little bit about your background and what you were doing and how you actually got involved in such a high-level business that you're doing right now.
Well, like all of us, my path was a bit circuitous, and I ended up in publicity because, frankly, I was in the music business, fell into the music business really through failing at something else, which was law school, and entered the music business and was starting as director of promotion and publicity at actually several independent record labels. And working in the music business showed me what perception really does, because if you think about it, entertainment, music, especially the music business, is a lot about perception. Those wonderful stars and celebrities you've seen, that is perception, that is publicity. And so I really got my chops down through all of that and had a wonderful start to my career, which really it just kept kind of growing and growing into my own PR agency that I actually owned for 7 years. Wow. And when I wrote the book Guerrilla Publicity, frankly, that was the point where I actually closed down the PR agency and started working with entrepreneurs, small business owners, people who couldn't, frankly, afford large PR agencies, because my heart's always been with the entrepreneur. And that just kept it all going until where we are today in my virtual publicity courses and all the things that I love to do today with entrepreneurs to keep their message going, because that's really my commitment, is to help others get their message out.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I love that. And do you know what? I've got to admit, I am a little biased because not only are you one of my coaches, but I consider you as one of my best friends and family, right? So I have worked with you. I know exactly what you're capable of and the results you give to your clients. And this is one of the reasons why I knew I had to have you here on this podcast, because it's astonishing. It's amazing. Your experience alone is like, what? You did all those different things? Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
I have realized that you have a very unique ability, and you are known as the messenger of messengers. Right? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I do have that unique ability to find your message inside of what people are throwing into who they are, right? Because I do find, honestly, that most people put out a message, but it's not really a message that will guarantee success or give you results with the media, for sure, and even frankly your prospects and clients. And so I have this unique ability to hear people's messages and go underneath it. Like, what are you really saying? Who do you really want to match, and who would match you? And I think that's really important, because frankly, there's always people you want to serve as an audience. Great, let's serve them. But frankly, what I've seen is if we serve them in a way that matches what they really need versus who you think you really are, and the twain shall meet. And I think that's one of my abilities, is to hear people's who they say they are and find where it matches the media and their prospects and clients.
Right. And I know firsthand that this is your superpower, because you have helped me hone in my message, and you still continue to help me to hone in my message, right? And the ideas that come out and the language and all that is so important when it comes to PR. And it's so funny how, because I come from sales background, and I thought, oh, it's got to be the same thing. You're just selling, right? You're selling yourself. But PR is a completely different world.
Yeah, well, let's say you are promoting yourself, which is different than selling. And the way I love people to do it is to come from an authentic, genuine place that their message is resonant for you, right? And I think that's what you're experiencing too. It's like, wow, we take what you do and who you are, but create it into a way that that communicates better. And I think this is the key for most people, is to communicate your message better versus I language. You know that I love you language. And most people are doing what I like to call beat the chest publicity, which doesn't get you a lot of results. It just says, I'm a fill in the blank. And that doesn't really affect and impact the media, who wants to know what's in it for their readers, viewers, and listeners. That's who we got to talk to. That's who, we're talking to right now on your podcast, is your listeners and viewers, right? And what you all care about is you, and how what we're going to talk about affects and impacts you. Isn't that right?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's where the confusion lies, because I think a lot of people are so used to talking about themselves. And you can talk and talk and talk about yourself, but the person that's listening, I guess they switch off, because they're there to find out, okay, so what kind of value are you going to give me? Right. And so that is where the you language is so important. And that is something that you have taught me, and not just in spoken language, but in writing as well. Right.
Yes. What we're really saying is use the you word everywhere, because it's never about, you can say, here's what I do. Yes. And what that means for you is even a nice phrase to use as a segue phrase. Right. What this means for you is, because that's what people care about.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know, Jill, that you have masses of experience. You got, a huge background in this, but I really want to get a little bit deeper and find out what really qualifies you as an expert in this niche.
Well, first of all, time spent, let me just say, over 25 years in the public relations field. And yes, I've seen changes, and I keep changing with it, right? Because we all have to keep growing and evolving. Certainly the fact that I wrote a book on it. And not only that, but I do practice what I preach. What do I mean by that? You've seen me practice what I preach. Yeah. And that is to show people about promotion and, guerrilla publicity. 3rd edition, my friend. You don't make it somewhere on a 3rd edition unless, frankly, I'm delivering good results to people. And I've been doing my virtual Get It Done publicity course now for many years. I've been working with clients one-to-one, and I owned a PR agency, which frankly was wonderful. But what I did was traded out the high fees, get it done for others, into affordable ways that now people can get it done for themselves. Because, honestly, most entrepreneurs can't afford $4,000 to $5,000 a month, which is what an average PR agency costs plus. So I just wanted to create ways that people could get it done for themselves. And I've been enough in this field long enough, seen the changes. I've done, frankly, the adjustments also for others that it's made a big difference. And hopefully people are getting great value and results because of it.
Most definitely. I mean, I am part of your community, your group, and there's so much involved in PR, but then also hearing what people say about, being on your course and going through this publicity and learning all these things that you wouldn't really think of when it comes to PR, right? But because it is a huge subject, and PR, it does so well for you, getting you results, that even your approach with people, with the media, you have to go about it a certain way, right? Rather than, these messages, and you probably get these messages on LinkedIn or Messenger and be like, oh yeah, I've got this program, it's new, it's this much, you want to join? That is not the approach that anyone should be taking, and you can't be taking that approach with media either, right?
Well, media, yes. I mean, these are obviously a little bit two different things. I mean, there's your prospects who, yes, care about what you're going to deliver to them. And the media needs to understand why what you're doing is impacting their readers, their viewers, who's listening, right? Who's watching. And of course, then there's the news, the big news that might be happening in that moment. And, I'd love to say use everything you've got. So when there's big news happening and it just happens to be in your area, in your arena, in something that relates to anything that you do, well, you want to jump right in. A great case in point, if I may, was Simone Biles. That when she quit the Olympics, that's where I called on all my mental health experts, transformation experts, goals experts. Could you please connect to your local media and start talking about this? This is a worldwide story, right? So you want to take on and watch for where the worldwide stories, where your local stories are happening, and how could you fit into that? Like, what could you communicate and contribute? That's what the media cares about, the expert that you are.
Amazing. Okay, so Jill, would you be able to teach a principle to our audience that they can relate to and immediately apply today?
Absolutely. One of the things you want to do, I like to call these visibility building activities. I'm really big on simple, effective, and low-cost things that you can do quickly. One of which is Google Alerts. I want you to go to Google Alerts. It's completely free. Put in your name, of course, because we want to know when the media is talking about you, and put in one word, perhaps of what you like. Let's say you're a leadership coach, or let's say you're a podcast expert. In case you would put in the word podcast. And so up comes anything people are talking about in the media about podcasting, right? And that's a beautiful thing. So you want to put in one word and maybe even two. So for instance, I'm a speaker. I will put in speaking, or what's the one word? I think specifically speaker proposals, and seeing when people are looking for speakers on Google, that will show me. So this is a really great and simple way that you can see what's happening in media and how it's relevant for you. And that will make a big difference for all of you.
Amazing. Now, a quick question there. Why only one or two words? If you've got like a 3-4 word company name, would that not be a good idea to see if people are actually searching for your company?
Well, okay. So one of the things I want is, yes, your name and okay, then separately aside your company name. Now, I don't do that for mine because I'm more quoted as an individual, not necessarily my company name. For some of you, yes, your company name would be perfect. So when I say your name, if you typically go by your company name, put that in.
Okay.
If you're more known by your brand, in your brand through your name, then just put your name.
Okay, got it. All right, that makes sense. All right, perfect. Now, Jill, do you have a couple of success stories that you can share with your recent clients?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things I think is so important, let's talk about use everything you've got for a moment, because that's first of all, a tip for all of you. So what do I mean by that? So one of my clients, he's an instructional designer, and truthfully, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't. When he connected to me and said, could you help me get publicity?
Right.
When he told me what it was, I said, no offense, Ryan, that's not going to cut it. Why don't you tell me your story? Now, remember, Kay, you said you have this superpower, and one of my superpowers is to listen underneath. Well, he told me that he'd been downsized from a corporate job. Yes, fired. He had a pregnant wife with their third child on the way. He just bought a big house in Northern California. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. You got no job. You got a pregnant wife. You got a big mortgage payment. What did you do? He said, well, I started my own company and online. Within 24 hours, he literally had 7 employees working virtually. I thought, well, now that's interesting. Wow. And I made him into a virtual office warrior. If you look at the acronym for that, it spells VOW, virtual office warrior. Ryan took a vow never to work in an office again. Can I tell you, that story got him into the front page of his local business journal in San Francisco, California. It got him into Entrepreneur Magazine. Imagine this, you and Entrepreneur Magazine. Right. That would be very good. It got him into Mac Home Journal. Ryan laughed with me. He goes, Jill, I don't even have a Mac. But he's got a story for Mac Home Journal. See, this is what I want you all to hear. This is called Use Everything You've Got. And on top of that, he's Asian American. So although he doesn't speak Chinese, and he is Chinese, we actually translated his articles into Chinese, put them into the Chinese Times. Can I tell you that one article in the Chinese Times got him a $7,000 client? Wow. Like, oh my gosh, yes, that's called use everything you've got. Your ethnicity, your religion, what could you be using?
Okay.
What could you be using? All aspects of who you are. That's really a key that I think for all of us, and actually there was, if you notice, some teaching points within there about using your story, using all parts of who you are.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's funny because I think people get the perception that they should only focus on their business and who that's targeted to, who their audience are, and they should forget about who they are completely as a person, and it should just be business run, right? But what you're saying is that no, use everything that you've got to find people that are relatable to you, to build that relationship, to let people know who you are, because you are that brand behind your business, right?
Yes. And that very thing may be the piece that's going to grant you what I might call, ability and opportunity to actually get media attention, which, guess what? Once you're in the media, for whatever it is, your name gets out there, your Google alerts start, you can drive people to your wonderful free gift inside of your website, or you'll drive them to your website, because no matter what you're being interviewed about, your name is out there. And that's what I want for all of you, to create what I love to call the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And whatever way they've heard of you, like my one client, he's a financial planner. His wife had breast cancer. He didn't know what to do and had to figure out what to do, and ended up doing actually a book and a white paper about Guy's Guide to Breast Cancer, right? Oh, wow. Well, here's what's interesting. That's actually what built his financial planning PR, because what happened was people were, the media in particular, were saying, that's what's interesting. We want to interview you for that, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. about his wife, about how does a man take care of a woman or a friend or, a partner of any kind. How do we take care of those we love and know who've been diagnosed with breast cancer? And that's what grew his business. Imagine that, right? 7 prospects and actually clients. Let's see, let me just get this right. 7 clients and 12 prospects came immediately from one blog post. And there were many more and many more media that came out of this story as an example. 35% increase in stats looking at his websites because of talking about his wife's breast cancer journey and not his financial planning business. Then that drove people into his business. Isn't that interesting? This is what I want. Yeah, right. Go ahead.
Because I think people just focus on the business, like I was saying, like promote the business. And forget about anything else that's going on. But I guess everyone wants to know, or they're more interested in what else you're dealing with, what else you've been going through, right? Before they are interested in learning more about you and your business. And from what I'm hearing is that is more important, to let people know who you are, what you do, where you come from, some of the struggles that you've been dealing with, what you've overcome is so much more powerful than just keep thrusting your business on people over and over again.
Well, I think this is the biggest thing for most, is that the personal side of you is actually very interesting. Whatever your journey is, whatever it was, it could be vulnerable, it could be tear-jerking, it could be happy, it could be many things, but use it, especially related to, let's call it months of the year. Like one of my clients, she has an autistic son, and there is definitely months of the year that honor that subject of autism. So what could you be using in all parts of your life? And by the way, her son is what actually drove more publicity to her coaching business, which is what, of course, we were talking about first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I think that's really the key for all of us to understand, that it's always about using everything you've got.
Wow. And do you know what? I don't know what it is, but something just hit home for me. And you've got my cogs in my mind just churning away now. I'm like, oh my goodness, so much other stuff that I could be telling people that haven't even thought of it. Just there's been a light bulb moment just a moment ago. And I'm totally going to be using that. Right. I'm going to be reaching out to people and using that. So thank you so much for doing that for me, Jill. I'm sure there's probably other people when they listen to this episode, probably going to be going through the same thing or thinking the same thing. So that's awesome. Now, Jill, I know at this point, people are probably thinking, oh my goodness, where can I find additional resources and where can they connect with you? So please tell us where our audience can connect with you.
Absolutely. So if you go to publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift, there I've created a wonderful interactive action guide for you for more great publicity tips. And on top of that, definitely sign up, which is still on the same gift, for my free publicity masterclass. And right there, live and interactive with me, just like this, I'll be giving you some great publicity tips and answering very specific questions just for you.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Guys, I've got to say, you got to jump onto this masterclass. Everything that Jill has got, get it, download it, listen to it, read it, watch it, whatever you have to do, learn from Jill, because from firsthand experience, she has done so much for me with regards to PR and getting myself out there on media and teaching me so much. If you're struggling with this, go and learn from Jill. Remember, all the links, everything that Jill has mentioned will all be in the show notes. So if you've missed it, then please scroll down and check that out. Jill, it was amazing having you on. There's so many golden nuggets. So much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kay. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and listening to Uncensored Society Podcast. All resources mentioned throughout the episode will be added to the show notes, and you'll be able to find them at the bottom as you scroll down. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and leave a review in iTunes. Thank you once again.